What wins championships when the shots stop falling? What changes a game without scoring a single point? What makes stars hesitate, guards turn around, and entire offenses throw out the first option before the play even starts? Defense. Not the kind that shows up only in highlights. Not the kind that gets praised for one big block and forgotten by the next time out. We're talking about the defenders who erase actions, shut down space, own the glass, blow up pick and rolls, and force teams to play a completely different game. And in the 2025 to 2026 season, the Defensive Player of the Year race has become a war between rim protectors, steal artists, switch monsters, and help side geniuses. Some of these defenders are carrying playoff teams, some are anchoring contenders, and one player at the top of this list. He doesn't just protect the rim, he makes opponents question whether they should even attack it. Welcome to Sports Stars Recap. Today we're counting down the top 10 Defensive Player of the Year contenders for the 2025 to 26 season. From number 10 all the way to number 1, we're breaking down their signature defensive moves, their blocks, steals, and defensive rebounds, some of the biggest defensive moments of the season, and what those plays mean for their team's regular season push and playoff outlook. Let's lock in. Number 10, Draymond Green, Golden State Warriors. Starting this countdown at number 10, the voice of the defense himself, Draymond Green. Even now, Draymond is still one of the smartest defenders in basketball. This season, he's giving Golden State around 0.9 steals, 0.7 blocks, and 4.8 defensive rebounds per game. Those numbers don't scream louder than some of the younger names on this list, but Draymond has never been about empty numbers. He's about anticipation, rotations, angles, and disruption before the stat even happens. His signature defensive move? The quarterback read. Draymond sees the action before it develops. He calls out screens, jumps passing lanes early, shades ball handlers into help, and rotates into the exact spot where an offense thought it had an opening. That's why coaches trust him to guard up and down the lineup. One of the best signs of his defensive value this season came when he embraced direct matchups against elite scorers like Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. On with reporting noting that he held those scorers below their averages across that recent stretch. Golden State is still fighting in the West play-in zone, so Draymond's defensive impact matters every single night. The Warriors aren't high in the standings right now, but if they survive into the postseason, Draymond's versatility will be exactly why nobody wants to see them in a one-game situation. That's an inference based on Golden State sitting 9th in the West, and Draymond still taking major defensive assignments. Number 9, Bam Adebayo's Miami Heat. Checking in at number 9, Bam Adebayo. Every year, Bam reminds the league that defense is not just about standing near the rim and waiting to block shots. It's about mobility, it's about discipline, it's about being able to switch onto guards without panicking. This season, our Bam is posting about 1.1 steals, 0.7 blocks, and 7.7 defensive rebounds per game. He may not pile up the block totals of the giant centers above him, but Bam's value comes from being one of the few big men who can defend the rim, survive on the perimeter, and still finish possessions with rebounds. His signature defensive move? The switch and slide. Bam slides with guards, stays balanced, absorbs contact, and cuts off driving lanes without overcommitting. He doesn't just survive switches, he wins them. That's what makes him so valuable to Miami. The Heat can keep their defensive structure without scrambling every time the offense hunts a mismatch. And in the playoffs, that matters even more, because every possession becomes a matchup hunt. Miami is currently in the East playoff mix. Ewan and Bam's defense is one reason the Heat stay dangerous even when their offense gets streaky. That playoff value is an inference from Miami's standing and Bam's defensive role. Number 8, Scottie Barnes, Toronto Raptors. At number 8, Scottie Barnes. Scottie has turned himself into one of the most chaotic two-way defenders in the league. This year, he's averaging about 1.4 steals, 1.6 blocks, and 6.0 defensive rebounds per game for Toronto. For a forward who often has to guard wings, switch onto guards, and help at the rim, that's serious all-around defensive production. His signature defensive move? The roaming ambush. Scottie plays like a defender who is hunting mistakes. He stunts at the ball, recovers fast, rotates from the weak side, and turns safe passes into turnovers. Then when drivers think they've beaten the first line, he shows up at the rim with length and timing. That combination of steals and blocks is why he's such a problem. He can wreck a possession at the point of attack or end it at the basket. Toronto is sitting in the Eastern play-in picture, and Scotty's defense is a major reason they've stayed competitive. If the Raptors get into a postseason environment, Barnes becomes the type of player who can swing a series with one strip, one weak side block, and one defensive rebound that starts a fast break. That's an inference based on Toronto's standing and Barnes' current defensive stat line. Number 7, Dyson Daniels, Atlanta Hawks, now rising to number 7. Dyson Daniels. If you love old school perimeter defense with modern length and chaos, Dyson belongs on your screen. Daniels has put together another disruptive season, averaging about 1.9 steals, 0.5 blocks, and 4.3 defensive rebounds per game in the sample currently reflected by his Fox stats. And currently, he stacked up 10 assists and 3 steals against Dallas, then followed it with 10 rebounds and 3 blocks against Milwaukee. His signature defensive move, the swipe and recover. Dyson gets his hands into everything. He shades ball handlers, takes away the first angle, reaches at the perfect time, and still recovers if the play continues. That's rare. Most steal chasers gamble. Dyson disrupts without constantly breaking structure, and his recent defense against Dallas drew praise because he made life hard on Cooper Flag while helping Atlanta extend its win streak. Atlanta is 8th in the East right now, and Daniels' pressure defense is one of the reasons they've stayed in the mix. In a playoff chase, that kind of ball pressure matters because it can blow up timing before the possession even gets dangerous. Number 6, Ausar Thompson, Detroit Pistons. At number 6, Ausar Thompson. This is where the race starts getting serious. Ausar has been a defensive wrecking ball for Detroit, averaging about 1.9 steals, 0.9 blocks, and 3.8 defensive rebounds per game, and he was named the Eastern Conference Defensive Player of the Month for January. His signature defensive move, the recovery explosion. Ausar can get beat for half a step and still erase the play because his second jump, closing speed, and length are outrageous. He turns broken possessions into steals, blocks, and deflections that don't even look possible. That kind of defender changes team confidence. Detroit can pressure higher, recover harder, and trust that Ausar can clean up mistakes. And the Pistons being first in the East right now makes his case stronger. Team success always matters in awards voting, and elite defense on a first-place team gets attention fast. Question 1. Which player in the countdown is praised for the signature defensive move called the switch and slide? A, Scotty Barnes, B, Bam Adebayo, C, Ausar Thompson, D, Dyson Daniels. Think you know the answer? We'll give you 10 seconds to lock it in. The correct answer is B, Bam Adebayo. Question 2. Which NBA team is said to be first in the East right now, helping strengthen Ausar Thompson's DPOY case? A, Cleveland Cavaliers, B, Toronto Raptors, C, Miami Heat, D, Detroit Pistons. Ready to take a shot? You've got 10 seconds. The correct answer is D, Detroit Pistons. Number 5, Rudy Gobert, Minnesota Timberwolves halfway through the countdown. And you already knew this name was coming, Rudy Gobert. Rudy's case is the classic case. Protect the paint, finish possessions, and make offenses settle for Plan B. This season, he's giving Minnesota about 0.8 steals, 1.7 blocks, and 7.6 defensive rebounds per game. The numbers are strong, the rebounding is elite, and the rim presence is still one of the most reliable weapons in the league. His signature defensive move? The vertical wall. Rudy doesn't always need the block. Sometimes the shot doesn't even happen. Drivers see him, hesitate, kick it out, on, or throw up something awkward just to avoid getting swallowed at the rim. Number 4. Amen Thompson, Houston Rockets. At number 4. Amen Thompson. This is where the list shifts from great defenders to defenders who can take over a game with athletic violence. Amen is averaging around 1.5 steals, 0.6 blocks, and 4.8 defensive rebounds per game while playing huge minutes for Houston. His signature defensive move? The chase down eruption. Amen covers ground like a blur. He can pressure the ball, recover from behind, rotate to the rim, and still explode upward to erase what looked like a clean finish. And when Houston is right, that energy fuels everything. Live ball turnovers become transition offense. Defensive rebounds become instant pressure. A single stop from Amen can flip the pace of the game in seconds. The Rockets are third in the West, and that team's success gives his defensive season real weight in this race. If Houston makes noise in the postseason, a lot of it will come from Thompson turning defense into speed. That's an inference based on Houston's standing and his defensive production. Number 3. Evan Mobley, Cleveland Cavaliers. Cracking the top 3, Evan Mobley. Mobley is the kind of defender every contender wants. Big enough to protect the rim, quick enough to switch, smart enough to anchor a scheme. As this season, he's around 0.8 steals, 1.8 blocks, and 6.4 defensive rebounds per game. Those numbers don't just show activity, they show complete front court control. His signature defensive move? The sidestep erase. Mobley doesn't always meet drivers head on. He slides with them, stays chest to chest, and then extends late with perfect timing. That makes him incredibly tough to score over, because he doesn't give up the angle early. Cleveland is 4th in the East, and Mobley's value is that he raises the Cavaliers' defensive ceiling without sacrificing versatility. In a playoff setting, that matters, because you can't play one-dimensional defenders for long. Mobley gives you size, mobility, and rim protection in one package. That's an inference from Cleveland's position and his role. Number 2, Chet Holmgren, with Oklahoma City Thunder. Just shy of the top spot, Chet Holmgren. If this were a different season, Chet might be number 1. He's averaging about 0.6 steals, 2.0 blocks, and 7.1 defensive rebounds per game for the Thunder, while Oklahoma City sits on top of the Western Conference. His signature defensive move, the backline ambush. Chet waits just long enough to bait the drive, then rises late to challenge at the summit. That timing is what makes him different. Players think they have the window, and then it disappears. His impact is bigger than the block total. He lets OKC pressure aggressively because the back line is protected. That's how elite team defenses work. Perimeter pressure plus a rim deterrent who cleans up mistakes. And because the Thunder have the best record in the West, every defensive play Chet makes carries more weight in the award conversation. Team excellence always sharpens an individual case. Number 1, Victor Wembanyama, San Antonio Spurs, and at number 1, the Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner, Victor Wembanyama. This race has great defenders, it has elite defenders, it has proven defenders, but Wembanyama is doing something even scarier. He's changing the geometry of the floor. As of mid-March, Wemby is averaging about 1.0 steal, 3.0 blocks, and 9.2 defensive rebounds per game, and he's the league leader in blocks. Betting markets have made him the overwhelming DPOY favorite, and recent coverage has highlighted just how dominant he's been down the stretch. His signature defensive move? The two-handed nightmare. Wembanyama doesn't just block shots. He blocks them from strange angles with either hand after covering impossible ground, sometimes while appearing to guard 2 players at once. A recent Spurs analysis noted he had 151 blocks through 50 games, already well ahead of the field at that point, and described how his ambidextrous shot blocking changes offenses. And the notable defensive plays this season, they keep stacking up. He dropped 38 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 blocks against the East leading Pistons. He followed with 29 points and 4 blocks against Houston. He then torched Boston after that, while broader NBA coverage pointed to those March performances as some of the best in the league this season. San Antonio is 2nd in the West right now, and that matters. Wemby isn't putting up monster defensive numbers on an empty team. On, he's anchoring one of the best teams in the conference, and that makes his case feel complete. For the regular season, his defense has turned San Antonio into a team that can survive mistakes and still win. For the playoffs, the implication is terrifying. Every series becomes a question of whether opponents can score at the rim at all, and right now, nobody on this list has a stronger DPOY case than Victor Wembanyama. Question 3. Which player is described as a defender who can pressure the ball, recover from behind, rotate to the rim, and erase what looked like a clean finish? A. Amen Thompson. B. Scotty Barnes. C. Evan Mobley. D. Draymond Green. This is where basketball IQ shows. You've got 10 seconds. The correct answer is A. Amen Thompson. Question 4. Which player is described as making opponents question whether they should even attack the rim? A. Dyson Daniels. B. Draymond Green. C. Victor Wembanyama. D. Amen Thompson. Lock it in. The clock is moving. The correct answer is C. Victor Wembanyama. So that's the countdown. From Draymond's IQ, to Bam's switching, to Dyson's chaos, to Gobert's wall, to Chet's backline control, to Wembanyama turning the paint into a no-fly zone. The 2026 Defensive Player of the Year race is loaded, but right now the message is clear. Victor Wembanyama leads the race. Chet Holmgren is right there as the biggest threat. Evan Mobley, Amen Thompson, Rudy Gobert, and the rest are still close enough to change the conversation with one dominant finish to the season, and that's what makes this race so dangerous. Audit, because offense gets the commercials, offense gets the mixtapes, offense gets the loudest cheers. But when the playoffs arrive, defense decides who survives. If you enjoyed this countdown, drop your top 3 DPOY contenders in the comments. And tell me this, who is the best pure defender in the NBA right now? Wemby, Chet, Mobley, Gobert, or somebody else? This is Sports Stars Recap, and I'll catch you in the next one.